Michelle.
Welcome to Mallet and Michelle. I'm Michelle and this is Steve. School's out. Summer has officially started, which means kids will be eating 47 times a day. So stock up the pantry, hide your good chips, and get ready to hear I'm bored every 5 minutes. Summer survival season is officially in session.
But no traffic.
But no traffic. It's awesome.
That's all that means to me right now. I can get to work in 2 minutes instead of 15 now.
It is great. It is great. So today in studio, we are going to have our upcoming judge for Precinct 3, future judge, Joseph Jamieson. He comes from Wimberley. He's a local guy. But first, we're gonna
gotta thank our wonderful sponsors before we get to that.
Sponsors for sure.
Get Joseph in here.
Yeah, Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room.
Deep Eddy Vodka is the key to a relaxing day in the Hill Country. Stop by the tasting room today before they move on to bigger and better things.
Oh, yeah. Bigger and better.
Bigger and better.
Bigger and better. South Star Bank.
Local banks are where business gets done. Stop by today and ask about the commercial, residential, construction, and jumbo loan packages they offer. They have what you need to grow your enterprise to the next level.
I feel like I need to, this 3-day weekend has not made me.
Do you need me to slap you a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sure you'd like to slap me. Black Slate Construction and Black Slate Roofing.
Why mess with a roofer that knocked on your door or a contractor with no references when you can use a trusted local contractor? Call Black Slate Roofing and Construction today for a no BS assessment of your home's condition and how they can help. And you got to listen to episode 230. Hunter was on. He's the owner of Black Slate. He was on last week.
Yeah,
episode 230.
We just released him. It should be pretty good. I think his is something softly. What is it?
Speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yeah, and
he's definitely soft-spoken, but very smart guy.
Very much. Mallet Integrity Team. Hey, I know those guys.
Yeah, I think we've done some business with them. Everyone else can fight over #1 team in Dripping Springs. We'll just quietly continue to be the best real estate team in Dripping Springs. Call 512-829-2062 today.
Woohoo! Yeah. And now, welcome to the studio.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Joseph.
So, Joseph, do you go by Joe, Joseph, Judge?
Joseph.
Do we curtsy? Do we
bow?
Yeah, do we bow when you get sworn in? When do you officially get sworn in?
So I'll get sworn in January 1st. So got a ways to go. Yep.
So I have a big question. Is there Justice of the Peace school you have to go to learn how to do this job? I mean, what is?
The answer is going to surprise you. Go ahead.
There is a mandatory school that you go to after the general election. So it will start in December. And then they have a couple other modules that you'll go to your first year. And
Judge's school.
Judge's school, yep. So a first-year judge, it's a little longer. And then every year after that, you do a continuing refresher.
Yeah.
Rules and laws change, so they keep everybody updated.
I'd like to audit that class.
Yeah, I bet. Me too. So a lot of people don't know this, but Justice of the Peace, you don't have to have a law degree.
You do not have to have a law degree to be a Justice of the Peace or a county judge.
So you mean there's hope for me?
Is there any requirement, though, education-wise, that you have to have?
No, I don't think so, other than there's an age requirement and a few other things. But as far as a formal education goes, they're pretty loose on what you need.
That's interesting because you do oversee small claims court. And I think the parking tickets and things like that would probably be pretty easy to preside over. But small claims court could get pretty technical.
But also you do the death notification.
The inquest.
That's right.
So what part of the job that you don't know right now that scares you the most?
I would say the procedural court stuff is, I'm a paramedic also, so I've been to a lot of inquests with Andy already. And, but it's just a lot to learn. It's a big change from what you're used to something new. And it's, that's what I'm working on now. I go observe all the JPs in the county I'm trying to get to before I get in and take office.
Yeah. Come Thursday, you can see us there. We'll be there Thursday.
Well, you're saying what you're used to. I've read through your bio, and I actually had a hard time summarizing all the businesses and things you're involved in. What are you doing now before you go as to be Justice of the Peace?
So I have I'm a paramedic. I've been with Wimberley EMS for 18 years or so.
Okay.
And then I'm a fireman also. I help out there at the fire station. I was a College Station fireman before that.
Okay.
I have a construction company, and then I have a small little resort there in Wimberley called Black Canyon.
Oh, I didn't even find that.
Yeah.
And is the construction company the CTHC?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay. And they do septic, like...
We do mostly wastewater, but we
Okay.
also build a couple houses here and there, and have some rental property, which is, all of those like experiences to me, those different things are kind of what culminates in doing a good job, I think, at the JP stuff.
Yeah.
So we have rental houses. Well, we deal with evictions. I'm in construction. We deal with small claims that are construction-related
Yeah.
issues. So, I've seen a lot of interesting stuff in that court as I've been watching Andy, and I think life experience helps.
You'll
a
be
lot.
on the other side of that bureaucratic nightmare that sometimes exists as a real estate owner or builder, trying to work your way through all those hoops that you had to jump through to do business.
It's a lot to navigate. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you come from the EMS world also, and so obviously you're an adrenaline junkie, also. But what part of taking this job that you decided, what sounds relaxing? A public office.
I don't know if that is quite how I framed it. Andy actually asked me. I hadn't really thought about it, and he decided he was going to not run again. And it's an important position for him. It's who he is, and he wanted someone that thought would do a good job. And so he did talk to a few people in the community, and I was lucky enough to be one of those, and came in and watched him several times, and then decided, I can do this.
So I know that every county, so we have 4 precincts here in Hays County, and every county kind of has its own personality. What is Precinct 3's personality?
I'd say Wimberley in a nutshell.
Yeah, well,
so
that
Wimberley's at the heart of the precinct, and if you know Wimberley, you know Precinct 3. So
I'm later on our monologue, I'm going to do the inappropriate Austin map. Have you ever seen that, where it talks about different areas? And Wimberley, I think, is hippies and hemp.
I was just going to say
Hippies
hippies
and
and hemp. That's what I was going to say.
it has an interesting demographic, and but there's a lot of hardworking people there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money, and it's a beautiful place, and people demand service over there.
So rich hippies now.
Well, some, I'm sure.
A lot of artists there, and the downtown area drives me crazy. That trying to get through that S turn there in downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I love Wimberley, but I like to avoid that if I can. So all the different roles that you'll have as Justice of the Peace, there's a bunch of different things that you do in the day-to-day. Run us through some of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's interesting. That's probably the biggest question I get is, what does a JP do? And so a JP is going to handle small claims up to $20,000.
Okay.
They're going to, so that's anything in there. They're going to do evictions. There's a lot of credit card cases. So if you default on a credit card and you owe less than $20,000, it'll wind up in a JP court.
Okay.
They handle death inquests. So in the absence of a city coroner, we'll say, the JP has the responsibility of determining should an autopsy be conducted, is this natural, or interviewing doctors, making sure that process gets handled.
So when the poison finally kicks in, Steve, I've been
Oh,
giving
yeah.
you for
Yep.
years.
Yep. Noted.
It's Judge Burns, though. Judge
Okay,
Burns
Judge
is the one
Burns.
that's going to come over and say, arrest Michelle. She
Autopsy.
poisoned Steve. Yeah, autopsy.
And then misdemeanors. So
Okay.
Traffic violations.
So what's the difference between justice and district court? Like the biggest difference. You don't have to run through all the things that district court does, but
Right, and again,
are there any overlaying things that you guys both do? But
one thing that's overlaid, I'd say, is so we sign warrants. So all of the judges can sign warrants anywhere in the county. So that's a service that they provide, and I'm learning a lot about it. I, of course, don't know everything yet. I got a long way to go.
you haven't gone to that school
I
yet.
haven't gone to the school yet, but I do
Warrant
spend
school.
a lot of time in court and a lot of time watching and observing, and that's where I'm picking up some of this stuff.
So warrants, that would be somebody in law enforcement comes to you and says, we need to search this car or this premises, and they present the evidence, and you say, yeah, that seems like we need a approve this warrant. Is that how
That's
that works?
exactly right. Or or a warrant to arrest someone or anything.
Have you seen judges not be presented with a request for a warrant and them say no?
So I have I've been lucky enough to be invited to the judges in Hays County, the JPs. They get together for lunch, a monthly lunch, and I've got to sit in on a few of those, and I have.
They make you pick the tab up.
Yeah.
They invited you.
I would if they wanted me to. It's but yeah, they do say, quite often, in fact, that they'll tell them you need more.
Yeah.
That's, as a judge, you're there for everyone.
Right. That's interesting.
Well, so now, being a paramedic, and you've basically for the last 18 years sometimes seen people at their absolute worst day of their entire life, and now you're going into that position of a judge, and probably a lot of times it's, I wouldn't say the worst day, but how do you think you're going to translate what you've seen in the field as an EMS now as behind the bench?
Well, it's just I'd say it's just a different piece of it. As a paramedic or a fireman, you're there to address the emergency at hand, and I think a lot of the JP stuff and the inquests are more, making sure the processes are being done.
But it's very similar, because I went through EMT training. I'm in the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I remember, you're assessing the situation, right? You're overlooking the situation. So probably very, very similar as a judge. You're kind of looking at the case as a whole, right? And
I think you're right.
You're not building your own conclusions based on, you're going to have to, present me the evidence. And same thing, like when probably you've been on a call before, and what necessarily is happening over here on one side of a car accident, you got to be careful about, the other car that was maybe just you thought was the fender bender.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot to look at in both situations, both professions.
Yeah. So when you become Justice of the Peace, because that's a done deal, you ran unopposed, which I want to ask you about, will you still be an EMS?
No, so what I'll have my last day is in November.
Okay.
And I am gonna stay with EMS and fire part-time.
Okay.
And I have a goal of trying to do, a shift a month. Just stay in the know with everybody.
Gotta get that first responder discount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like to help, and you've done it for so long. It's kind of a part of you.
Yeah. So you ran unopposed, which at first glance would probably for most people mean nobody else wanted the job, but that's not how this was it?
No, there was some other people interested, and I always tell people that I've worked really hard to be unopposed, because it was a lot. You got to get out there, and every event, every courtroom session, social media was new to me, so I was learning how to navigate social media and just be in the public eye, and at the same time learning all the position.
And your life's kind of being an open book. We've talked about that with several people that have come on the podcast, and it's the business of politics versus you go into something because you really want to help people and you want to make a difference, but then there's the whole other side back here of you're right, the social media and being a personality, the personality of the person that's running.
Sure. Yeah, you're under a magnifying glass for sure. And but it's fun. I was a little nervous about it at first. I guess being more social than I've ever been before, is different. But I've enjoyed it. I started doing, and even before I was running for JP, I was on the Barnabas board there in Wimberley and did some charity stuff. But since then, I've got on the Lions Club, which I absolutely love. Like, I'm at market days helping those guys out. It's a great group of people, and I do Keep Wimberley Beautiful there, and we do stuff with them all the time. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed, there's just a lot of good people that are doing those things.
Yeah. What's the most despicable thing somebody said about you online? And
what's the rumor?
What's the one thing that sticks out to you? Like, damn, man, that really hurts.
I wish that was true.
I've had some, there was initially some pushback on where I had my campaign launch party.
Okay.
Stuff like that is just,
Where was it?
Well, I had it at Community Pizza, which, I didn't really know there were red and blue restaurants, but, that I guess that has a
Oh my
a
gosh.
stigma about it. But it was great. We showed up. I mean, they cooked I think he did something like 200 pizzas in an hour, and it was an awesome event. But that's when I knew, like, when I was getting some pushback on that, I was like, okay, things are.
Yeah, but when
looked
someone's
at a little
coming
closer.
before your bench, you're not asking who they voted for, right? That's thrown out the window, and that kind of response is ridiculous.
That's exactly right. Is partisan is you need to be partisan, and there's actually been some movements, believe it or not, where they've tried to get those judges roles, where they don't necessarily run as one or the other.
So you did have to pick a party though to run. That was one
I
of my
did. Yep,
questions.
I ran on the Republican Party.
Okay.
Yep.
Did the Democrats put anybody up that?
No, well, I talked to a lot of them, and I know a bunch of the Democratic leaders from City Council and those
Yeah.
things. Great people, and we spoke, and a lot of those felt that they just wanted somebody that was going to do a good job, and they didn't run anybody against me.
Okay.
Thank goodness, which provided me a lot more time to go sit in court, go watch commissioner's court, go see all this stuff that I'm getting to do.
Probably saved you a lot of time trying to raise money too, because you would have had to, boost your social media and do some ads and more signs and stuff like
it's
that.
expensive.
Yeah, it gets real
One
expensive.
of we had Judge Elaine Brown on the podcast, and I just adore her. She's the mental health judge, and we learned a lot about that as well. Because I'm conservative, and I vote one way, but I will definitely cast my vote for Judge Brown in that sense. But I agree with you in that sense. We talked that exact conversation with her about why is it so partisan? Why do you have to pick a side? So being I want to kind of go back to you being an EMS or in EMS, and do you feel is the most underrated quality in a crisis? And you're going to kind of experience that in the courtroom as well.
Sure, I'd say staying calm. It's very difficult sometimes to stay calm when there's a crisis happening. We walk everywhere. We just slow, methodical, making sure we're not missing anything. So staying calm, I'd say, is underrated. People talk a lot about the different skills, the different drugs, the different ways of moving, but being able to observe and take in information in a calm way is.
Is that something you're taught in EMS school, is to be slow and deliberate? Because I think
they
sometimes
have
people get
sick sense of humors. That's the other thing.
They do. Yeah, they do.
But I think people get frustrated, like, come on, bring the gurney here. He's on the floor. Yeah. But you actually have a process, right?
That's right. They do teach you, to stay calm. You don't run anywhere. You find yourself running, something's, not right.
Yeah.
So, and people you're seeing them, and they're very heightened on their behavior because it's a big thing, a big deal that's going on for them.
Probably the
big
biggest,
event.
Yeah, the biggest thing going on in their life at that time, for sure.
And they want to see some hustle.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah.
You wind up getting there faster by grabbing bags and having what you need and laying it out.
Having to go back and forth.
The guy that runs out of the cab straight over there and gets there and doesn't have anything, he's got to go back, and it's so it's good to stay deliberate and focused.
That's a very good point. What was your role during the big Wimberley floods?
So on the big Wimberley floods, I was actually I wasn't on duty. I was at the time I had one of those restroom trailers. And I had it set up in a wedding over in where was I? Over towards San Antonio somewhere, and I got trapped. And my friend JK came and got me in a truck. My truck died. It flooded this wedding. They invited me into their house. I stayed there with them. But when I got back and got on duty, of course, everything was a disaster, and they staged us all around. So. We essentially set up mini stations for that, and I ran a normal paramedic shift for those. We helped out with some of the search stuff, helped with some of the cleanup stuff, and it was real good. We had some good leadership that did a lot.
Did you go out? Did you get called out to Kerrville during that last flood?
I didn't get called out, so I'm not on a team that gets called out.
Okay.
But of course, I would have been happy to volunteer. I know a lot of people that went over there.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and the Wimberley flood was just devastating. That was you go over there and see how high the water. You can still see evidence of how high the water came, and it was just it's crazy.
It's wild, and I live right there close to River Road. So
Yeah.
I grew up. We still have the house I grew up in on the other side of on the river, and I mean we're back and forth across that river all the time.
Yeah.
It's very odd to know that water got that high.
Yeah, like 40 feet above that.
What do you think Wimberley, like now, does right? That I guess what they learned from that flood.
Since that time, I think I think the administrators of both fire and EMS and some of the resources that they've had have really gotten together and had more of a action plan for future floods and how to work with each other. Different resources, for example, like even Barnabas, it works with EMS in those times. In the big freeze, I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember. I remember at one point I think Barnabas had the local, the Jeep community, all the people that have Jeep, they were out delivering people stuff and all the, so they just networking, I'd say, is they really found what resources were available.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's cool about the communities we live in. Everybody pulls together when there's a need like that.
They do.
Like people come out of the woodwork to help out. It's almost like at Kerrville, I guess that was one of the biggest things. They had so many people that wanted to help. They had to have teams of people directing those people so that they weren't in the way.
Too many.
Yeah, there was
too many.
too many people there that wanted to participate and help.
They can be that can be as big a problem as not enough.
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and so you got to make sure you're volunteering in a good way.
Yeah. Maybe help give out water or something in the background instead of trying to
Go
get
to
down
Ace
there.
Hardware. Go station over there.
Yeah.
Just don't get in the way. I think that one of the worst questions I heard this from a lot of my paramedic friends is people will ask, like, just in polite company, what's the worst thing you've ever seen? Well, okay, I'm not going to ask you what's the worst thing you've ever seen, because now I'm bringing you back to the worst moment that you've ever seen. But what I'm going to ask you is, was there one moment when you've been fully engulfed into your EMS career that changed just how you saw people?
That changed how I saw people. I would say what's changed some on how I've view people is like just the long term, that same demographic that needs more help than anyone else. You just see them all the time, and so you feel like you get to know a lot of those people. And I'd say that changed some. And then, of course, the worst call stuff. Anything with kids is just rough.
Oh yeah.
It can be rough. Like check on your people after they go on, those kind of calls.
Yeah, when you say demographic, you mean people that are like their chronic health conditions.
Chronic health conditions,
not
that are
living in a
lower
great
economic,
situation.
probably.
Right, probably so. That are just and you realize what a strain it is for them to get through the day-to-day grind.
Yeah. And it probably makes you feel blessed to have the life that you have when you leave.
It does. You're very thankful. I'm good at being happy with what I have.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for the life I have, for sure.
Yeah, Michelle and I have been to the food bank, Helping Hands here a few times in the last couple weeks, and that's what every time we step foot out the door when we're leaving, we think, God, we are so blessed to not have to come to a food bank, and our situations in life have been, we've ended up winning the jackpot as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's great.
Not everybody has.
And that's one of the things I think people were saying about Judge Cable, who you're filling his shoes. You'll be filling big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill.
That he was fair, he was impartial, he was smart, but also so many times people would say, I felt seen. I felt he didn't make me feel less than.
I think that's a big compliment.
Well, yeah, and so you can't learn that in school, right?
No.
So you were talking about how you're shadowing these judges. Are you picking up some of their personalities and maybe to try to mimic that?
Well, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
We have all the judges in Hays County, all the JPs. I think they're fantastic, and I'm trying to pick up as much from them as I can. But yeah, one of the biggest surprises to me is how much these judges help people. Like, for example, they've, even before on an eviction case, even when it gets filed by the landlord, they're sending the defendants like resources to, bridge gaps and be able to, help. So, and they help with kids. They're keeping stuff off of records that aren't really necessary in exchange for community service. They're just changing a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And I hope to do the same.
Do you feel like there's a general shift towards incivility and distrust of government in general going on right now?
I'd say probably, but I don't see it at all at this level.
Yeah.
At that lower court, the JP court level, it's a community court, and very trusted.
So
they're very, very trusted.
Yeah. So you'll keep that kind of at the back of your mind when you're sitting up there on the bench, that we want to keep it like that.
Of course, yeah. I think community's trust is the one thing you have to have more than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with you.
When you're in that position.
I'm all for rules and procedures, but I actually think, and some people may not feel this way, but I think it's a plus to not come from a law uber no gray area background, because lawyers can just muck it up even more than anything. I mean, like we personally have an experience right now that we're taking somebody to small claims court, and they've hired an attorney, and we're like, why are they? And it's to intimidate us, it's to bully us, and they've done all this, and we're like, okay, whatever, whatever.
Yeah. Well, just remember, it's a very relaxed court as far as procedural stuff is concerned on some of those things. So I'm sure you'll get a fair, impartial decision.
It's funny you said that, because that's one of my questions, fairness. Because you got two parties, two completely different opposing views.
Stories.
One wants one outcome, the other one wants a completely different outcome, and you're the one that gets to decide or has to decide. And so, what kind of filter do you run that through to keep it fair, so that you are saying, okay, this is the outcome that needs to happen? That process actually kind of freaks me out. So how do you do that?
It's a lot of responsibility to say that you're going to make a decision and it's the right one, So I'm hoping I can draw off some of the experience I have, depending on what the issue is, and of course look at the facts that are proven right there. That's one thing that stays a constant. They still have to prove.
Right.
Well, it's the subjective versus the objective, right?
Sure.
And being in the field, when you're having to make a split-second life-saving decision, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you've gone to training, you have procedures, you know what you're supposed to do, but at that moment, it's all on you, buddy.
It's all on you.
It's all on you.
Yeah, and just like with the paramedic stuff too, you probably subconsciously just revert back to your training and the training that I'm going to get in this endeavor. And 20 years later, I've taken hundreds of people with chest pain to the hospital, and it's very routine. And I'm imagining 4 years from now, 5 years from now, some of these cases I'll have a lot more experience to stand on after. It's the beginning that's going to be the toughest.
If you get one of those cases where both parties present evidence and you're just not sure what to do, can you give everybody a 10-minute break and go in the back and call somebody, or
Google it?
Or do you have to is it like, boom, I got to make a decision right now?
No, and I'm guessing here again. I'm sure some of that may go on. I know they go back to their office a lot before a decision's made, and and again, the end goal is to make
an informed decision.
An informed, right decision. So I'm sure they do whatever it takes to get that done.
Yeah. What about like tickets? You were talking about misdemeanors. So you were saying about kids and not ruining their future. Have you thought about the case where maybe this kid, he's under 18, she's under 18, comes before you 5 or 6 times, and you're trying to be fair and not ruin that person's life, but at some point you got to go, there's got to be some punishment for this behavior.
You hit him over the head with your gavel? See, ask that question in school.
A repeat, they've shown a trend, and it needs to be corrected, I'm sure. And so I think Andy and I have even spoken about that. If you're back in and you're not you're not doing what we're asking of you several times in a row, it escalates.
Yeah. What's the sort of maximum punishment that you can give in Justice of the Peace Court?
I'm not sure.
Life.
It's
Death row.
no, it's I think they're mostly fine-based stuff.
Yeah.
It's nothing too crazy, and community service. And
Okay.
there are some I think you can suspend licenses
Okay.
and do different things.
You'll find that out.
I'll
in
find
judge
that
court.
out. Yeah, in school.
Maybe you'll have like one of when you were first learning Excel, you could have like a little cheat sheet like on the side of your computer. It's like, okay, yep, for your first offense, I want you to walk me through what you think your first day is going to be like.
Oh man.
Oh boy. That's
Well, I can walk you through Andy's first day 28 years
Oh,
ago.
please, yeah, because you know what I like to call Andy.
What's that?
He says he's very nervous. I've tried to get Andy on this podcast so many times, and I call him a tinkle talker. He's like, "Do you peek and you get nervous?" And he's like,
That's so funny. He's such a good public speaker.
He
But
is.
maybe it's the technology he's nervous about. I don't know. He's
I
a
don't
great
know.
speaker.
He
Yeah, he
is.
is.
That was hard for me to, because in school and college and stuff, you're speaking in front of a lot of people routinely. Well, I hadn't done that in a long time, and so the first 3 or 4 times I was asked to speak, it caught me off guard how nerve-wracking it was,
Yeah.
and then I've done it a few times now, so it's a little easier, but
"You're like,
it is nerve-wracking.
Have you heard that thing that fear of public speaking actually scares a majority of people more than dying?
I have heard
I
that.
think that's what Todd's going through for Thursday. My husband, I think. So tell me what your version of his first day on the bench was
So
like.
he told me that he got sworn in, and within an hour was on his way to his first inquest.
Oh man.
Yeah, just within an hour.
But
Wow.
see, you have that background, so
I have that background. So, and also, again, I'm so lucky because, he ran opposed his first time. And, so he didn't have a good relationship with the sitting judge because he was trying to unseat him.
Okay.
And I'm so lucky that I have these people I can
Mentors.
call and talk to. And it was really cool to see how, like, all the judges, all the JPs work together, and they lean on each other. Hey, I'm going out of town. Can you cover my stuff or whatever else? And they're a close-knit group.
Yeah. Talk to me about evictions. I'm a landlord on a couple of properties too, and are most of the evictions that come before the Justice of the Peace Court, are they upheld and the people get evicted, or is there like 50-50?
If they follow the process, yeah, they're most of
the
them are.
landlord follows the process, yeah.
Yeah, there's very specific process to follow in regards to posting and notice and all of those things. And so, yeah, if they've, and again, 95% of them are for non-payment.
Right.
And so it's pretty black and white. If the rules are followed and they're because you have to, the tenants have rights as well.
Sure.
If their rights are being maintained throughout the process and those things, then yeah, most of those evictions are successful.
And if it's successful and you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to sign off on this eviction, how soon do they have to be out of the property?
I think they have, I want to say 2 weeks. I'm still learning a lot of that stuff, but they have a certain amount of time, and very rare is it right then.
Okay.
You know. And then
it's
if
not like the sheriff's going to drive them over there and say, here, grab your stuff and we're throwing you out. Yeah.
That happens later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
if they haven't gotten out.
And that's the constable. So if you think of the
Okay.
constables as kind of an extension of the court. So like if they'll do a forced removal.
Okay.
And it's sad, a lot of them are maybe they just don't have the mental capacity, or they have some kind of mental health issue that's preventing them from
maybe a
working or
substance abuse, or it can be a lot of different things.
yeah, and so these constables have to respond over there and forcefully get these people out of these buildings.
Yeah, that's I know that's got to be really hard to do, because you feel for them.
You feel for them, yeah. It's.
But then on the other side of that, there's somebody that's got, maybe it's their biggest investment, and they're trying to make sure it makes money, and there's somebody in there that's preventing that, and so you got to respect those rights too.
Yeah, and damage to the property and everything else.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
some of those wind up being not only eviction, but small claims as well.
Sure.
I want to move away from the position that you're not quite sworn into yet,
Yeah.
or have gone to school a little bit, and you have your hands in many different things. And let's talk about your septic company that you have, CTH.
It's right on his shirt,
Yeah,
Michelle.
CTHC.
CTHC. Oh, and you're not selling weed pins.
No, I'm not selling weed
You're not
pins.
selling weed. So you're
Absolutely
going from
not.
dealing with people's crap to dealing with people's crap
Yeah.
over here. But talk about what you would hope somebody that a landowner, a homeowner, a developer, what is it that they don't understand about the process that you do?
The hardest part, I always say this, the hardest part is navigating the permit process.
Oh gosh, we've heard that. What a nightmare,
It's
right?
it can be. Yep. And they're all good people that try to get those done, and they have regulations they're trying to deal with, but just getting them through that permit
Yeah.
process. By the time we start, 50% of the job is already done, you know.
Are you talking about building permits or septic permits or wastewater permits?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet I would assume wastewater is actually on a commercial level is harder than building permits.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and drip, you were talking about the Dripping Springs wastewater. They're going up 40%,
Oh,
something like that.
they're talking about doubling or more the wastewater bills to offset some of the costs
I
for
read
their
that.
wastewater plants. Yeah, I'm struggling with that. We need to get Mayor Bill on to talk to us about that.
Yeah, we need. So, what do you think is the most unrealistic thing people think about when they're talking about or thinking about developing something?
Say that one more time.
What's the most unrealistic thing? You know, like I've heard, like, I bought a piece of property. I'm gonna spend $300,000. I'm gonna put a house on it. Well, that's the septic's gonna cost this.
And the well, and the
Sometimes
electricity.
they have a unreasonable dollar per square foot price that they're thinking about, you know, and a lot of those dollar per square foot prices don't include utilities or wastewater. Like some builders included and some don't, you know, and so managing those expectations, I'd say managing expectations of, especially on a remodel or an old septic that's being replaced is, you know, it's going to tear up landscaping. It's going to tear up property. And, you know, working with neighbors is a big deal, especially in some of these neighborhoods. You wind up right there, and most of the time they're not happy that you're changing something that they're used to seeing one way, you know.
Yeah, I think that would be the hardest part, the PR part of building stuff like that. I want to talk about Hays County in general, because you're going to be part of the machine now that runs Hays County. What's one problem in Hays County that isn't dramatic enough to trend online? Like, people aren't talking about it all the time, but it's genuinely serious and something we should all be thinking about.
Man, that's a tough one for me. I try to stay in tune with all the issues. I love Hays County, and those people over there are great people. And if anything, I would say that they don't have enough of them. You know what I mean? It's think about it just just for septics. Let's say that, because that's what I know. Yeah, they they have to go do these phase inspections on new system installs and manage all the ones that are supposed to have a maintenance contract, along with reviewing new designs that have been submitted. I mean, it is a mountain of work. Yeah. And I'd say, you know, the biggest thing there, I don't think they have enough people sometimes, but people take money. So I don't know. Well, the last commissioner's court I listened to it was a lot about the budget, and it was interesting. I'm not missing one now. I listen to them all the time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff in the media now about, and I'm not saying this about Hays County on any level, but about, you know, bureaucracy gone wild, you know,
and the corruption.
Nobody knows where the money went, and, you know, there's these organizations and stuff. So I don't think that's going on in Hays County, but I think that does start to trickle over into how people perceive what's going on at the county. Is it
not happening in Hays County because we're not talking about it, or is it not happening in Hays County because it's not happening in Hays County? I mean, there's like, you know.
It may be just because the budget's not big enough. You know, when you get state budgets, they're multi-billions of dollars, and it's easier for $100 million to go missing when it's, you know, whatever, California a $600 billion budget. You miss $100 million, like that can go unnoticed. You miss $100 million in Hays County, people are going to notice.
Go.
You're going to know.
And the growth right now in Hays County is just is exponential, right? And so like when Andy first started in Precinct 3 versus now you're starting, I mean, Wimberley, just the size of Wimberley now and the schools and the demographic has really changed out there. Is that exciting or kind of scary?
Well, so I've lived there my whole life,
Yeah.
and I'd say both. You know, it's exciting to have an HEB. It's
Yes.
exciting to see new development and have new restaurants and all of those things. It's exciting to have them in your home, in your hometown. And but what's harder to deal with is, you know, just volume of people.
Yeah.
And the tourism?
And the tourism, which is when you live in a pretty place, people want to come see it. And so to me, it's flattering that that we have a lot of tourism because it is a beautiful spot. But road congestion, and even on the busiest day of Wimberley, like you were talking about the square earlier, it is congested. But if you go downtown and eat at a nice restaurant in Austin, it's easier to park.
Yeah, that's
still.
truth. Yeah.
You know, if you compare those two things.
Well, if you park in the wrong spot in Wimberley, your license plate and car is going to end up on Facebook.
Yeah, that is very true.
If you do it in Austin, they don't give a shit. But here in Wimberley, they're going to post
That's
it.
funny.
Well, I think we're spoiled a little bit too because you know, my whole life I never had to look for a parking space anywhere in Wimberley.
Yeah.
And well, it's changing a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to go, you know, get something to eat on a Saturday, it might not be easy to park.
I have to totally agree with that because my daughter-in-law's family, they're all from Napa. She was born and raised there, love Napa. Her mother just recently moved out of there because she said the tourism has gotten so bad because she goes, if I want to go out to eat on a Saturday, I cannot go out to eat because the tourists have taken all of the spots.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm sure
I get it.
it's similar in Wimberley.
Both of my daughters are hosts at restaurants.
Oh, so you got an
Wimberley.
in. You got an in.
So, well, at the same time, I'm complaining that there's no tables. You know, it's great. My daughters have employed and working and learning, and so I think it's a double-edged sword.
Do you go sometimes when they're working?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're like, you don't have to do the dishes tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you see me.
I did that once when my son was working at an Italian restaurant up here off of Hamilton Pool on a Saturday night. We went over there and had dinner, and he was so mad at me. He was like, "You can't come in here when I'm working." I gave him like $100 tip.
Oh, there you go.
I think I made up for it. But
Yeah.
You were,
now
Joe,
he's inviting you back.
Yeah, that's right. You were talking about social media, and Michelle was talking about getting your license plate posted on Facebook. But have you learned to love it, or you still kind of hate it, or what's your relationship with social media?
So I never had it before all of this,
you, yeah.
and then and so I didn't think I would like it, but I was wrong.
You do
Totally
like
dark
it, huh?
side?
I absolutely
Are you on
love it.
TikTok?
No, all I really do is Facebook. My kids helped me with some Instagram stuff. They were making fun of me because I didn't know how to use it. But Facebook, for whatever reason, I can navigate okay. And just seeing my friends and seeing what they're up to and people I grew up with. And
You're like, where's this been my
I've
whole
enjoyed
life?
it. Well, and I like the events, you know, that are on there. So like if I can see what's going on, you know, stuff to do. So I have liked it.
Do you spend a lot of time on it?
I would say so. I actually tried. I researched a little bit about, you know, how often you should post and those kind of things for someone in my situation.
Yeah.
So I try to do like 2 a week. Is ad, but I say I am on it more than I thought I'd be. You know, just looking at other stuff and following other political races and other judges that do things.
Go to TikTok. Go to Justice of the Peace TikTok.
I should.
Yeah, that's cool. So now, once you get sworn in, what about that picture, you know, or you have people will come up because you'll be kind of like a celebrity, right? Like, oh, that's my judge, right? Like you're at Hays City Story, you're just sitting there having a margarita with your wife and, you know, some truck stop enchiladas, and someone comes up to you. How do you think you're going to handle that kind of nouveau fame?
And hopefully it's fame and not somebody,
Not
you
like,
kicked
"You
me out of
suck."
my apartment.
Yeah, you suck.
Well, I'm sure it'll be a little of both. So Andy's very social, and
Yeah, very.
So I'm with him. I've been spending a lot of time with him, and so I see that happen quite often to him, and he always just is so great with people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hope I do the same thing.
Yeah.
What if you're like at the men's stall? You're right there.
Yeah.
You know it'll happen.
That might get awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be awkward. There's a whole bunch of unwritten rules about the men's restroom.
Oh, you don't
Michelle.
make
You
eye-
don't know them,
you
but
don't-
we know them.
Hey.
Joe and I know
That's
them,
right.
but you don't know them.
In the women's restroom, you wouldn't know the woman next to you, and you're like, "Hey, do you have any toilet paper over there in your hand?"
If there are 6 men in the men's
There's
restroom,
6
they
men.
are all in there by themselves. Nobody else exists.
Oh, that's right.
There's no eye contact. It's just you do your own thing and off you go.
Just coughing and peeing.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Joe, how about AI? Is AI a part of what you do now, and
Oh, that's a
or
good
what
question.
you think it'll help you out as a justice of the peace?
I like it as a tool. I don't know that it'll help me as justice of the peace. Maybe as to reference something.
Yeah.
I do like it on my business stuff. Sometimes I help it format a spreadsheet or convert something to a PDF or those kind of things. But I don't. I'm sure it's a tool that gets
Yeah.
used quite a bit, but I don't really see it influencing a decision.
I'm still trying to figure out what the future of AI looks like. For a while, I thought, all the doomsayers were, oh, yeah, everybody's going to be out of work. Real estate agents aren't going to exist. You go put in a septic system, you can do design on ChatGPT in 3 minutes.
But AI can't dig it up.
No, and I know that. But the more I learn, I actually think that AI will continue to be kind of what you're talking about, a tool we use for efficiency, but
Sure.
I think a lot of jobs it just can't replace.
I think so. Also, like with being a judge position, I can't see a world to where AI is going to take over a justice sitting position, but because
There's a lot of movies about that, though.
Yeah.
but there's so much emotion involved, right? Even though there's the facts, right? There are the emotions
Yeah.
because maybe the person that is presenting the facts, if like especially small claims or justice of the peace, is that they don't have the tools to be able to explain or present the facts properly. They may have all of the emails or contracts or whatever it is, but just to kind of relay that information, even like in an eviction process as well. But maybe it's just like just the facts, man.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Maybe in the future you'll just get a file from each party submitted, and they'll just stand there and you'll read through the files, and then you make your decision. Nobody says a word.
Who's to say? It'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how
Yeah.
everything changes.
I can tell you that the Texas Secretary of State needs to have something.
Oh,
I
God,
am
yeah.
still fighting with the Secretary of State 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of technology has really helped us, and so is Hays County kind of improving? Do you know, like even from the EMS standpoint, the way you used to take reports 18 years ago or present your reports, has that kind of all changed?
I'd say they're improving all over the place. I think that's they're doing a real good job of modernizing everything they can do, and there's always something to do.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect, but even in EMS, our equipment has changed, our capabilities have changed because of that equipment.
Sure.
It's positive.
Yeah. When you become Justice of the Peace, who will you answer to? Who will, not necessarily your boss,
yeah.
but who?
Jennifer.
Yeah, always Jennifer.
Yeah, well, yeah, we know
Always,
that.
always
Yeah,
Jennifer.
Jennifer, your wife, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's the county judge.
County judge. Okay.
So he provides or presides over the commissioners and the JPs.
Okay. So if you mess up somehow, then that's who you'll get a call from.
You get it.
You won't. I know you won't.
Yeah.
But if you do,
Well, and there are some other organizations that monitor courtrooms
Sure.
and stuff that
Yeah.
regulatory people that
Yeah.
handle some of those things.
Andy used to broadcast his, I don't know if he still does it. He would broadcast his procedures and his court cases. Are you going to continue that process?
I haven't heard that. Does he do that?
you sure it was Andy? It was. We had another judge on.
Was it Andy?
No, it wasn't Andy.
Oh no, it was oh my
Tanner,
gosh,
Tanner. Yeah.
Tanner
Oh,
Neidhart.
okay.
Yes, Tanner. That's right.
He-
Oh, see?
But he didn't. He
got
he didn't. He got defeated, and he's not in
no,
office now.
he didn't. But people really love that about him.
That might be something for you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd have to think about it, because it is a public court.
Yeah.
And very rarely do they close it to the public. I think some of the stuff
when it comes with children,
with
and,
minors and stuff,
mm-hmm.
they'll have people in truancy cases. They'll close it off. But it just seems, they're already in there and they're having a bad time. I don't know if I'd want to air that out there.
Yeah. I don't know. It could make for some good TV, right?
It would make
Good clips.
Right, but I need to help all of them.
Yeah, privacy. I know. Yeah, and it might taint some of what people say too, because they wouldn't just open up with what they're with their case.
People's Court.
Yeah, kind of like.
Oh, maybe that's what you should do. You should start watching some old People's Court.
Well, man, it's already a nerve-wracking situation.
Yeah.
I mean, normal people don't spend a lot of time defending themselves in court.
My husband literally wants to throw up. If you just bring up Thursday morning, he's like, he turns green.
And just imagine how worse it would be if it was on air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody could watch it. It would be even more nerve-wracking.
And pick apart every word.
It's kind of like the podcast. Like when some people are like really nervous to do the podcast, and then we say, I run through my little spiel about Steve doing the audio, and then I'm like, then I'm over here, I run the YouTube cameras, and they're like,
it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
But then we always say, well, there's only 4 people listening or watching, but it's okay. It's okay. So,
we're fine.
So, Joe, what do you do for fun when you're not running all these businesses and now going to be Justice of the Peace? What do you do for fun on the weekends or when you have time off?
So I like to do a lot of outdoor stuff. This week I'll be watching some Wimberleys in playoffs for the baseball. So I'm going to go catch those games, and my wife and I like to go out to eat a lot, and staycation. We're looking at a lot of staycations starting next year, so we're going to lose the vacation and start doing staycation because I can't leave.
Yeah.
And you have to be around to work.
You either have to be there or you have to ask someone to cover you, and I don't feel like I've earned that yet. I need to do the covering first.
Sure.
And
that makes sense.
So we're excited to do. We've got some of those lined up. We're fixing to go to Oregon this summer, so that'll be fun, and I've never been there. And
what part of Oregon?
We've both been.
Yeah, the Pacific Coast.
Yeah.
We got a place right on the water. My sister set it all up. It looks great.
Awesome.
I think it's where they filmed Goonies, right
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
Is it Cannon Beach?
Yeah.
That's
Cannon
it.
Beach. My son lives in
That's
Portland, and his
beautiful
mom
there,
lives in Astoria, or where does she?
My mom lives down south, Port Orford, which is a little town you're never going to hear of. But we've been to Mount Hood a few times.
Okay.
Beautiful
That's what
state.
I hear.
It's a beautiful state. My wife and I backpacked down the Oregon coast last year during the summer.
Awesome.
You'll see a bunch of Fireball containers. That's one thing that we talked about.
Funny. And when you're backpacking, and we're serious backpackers, when you're backpacking, you get mistaken for a homeless person.
Oh, really?
A lot.
That's funny.
A lot. Like people would come up and go, "Do you need us to run into town and pick you anything up?" Like, no, we're good. We're self-sufficient here.
Are you going to continue your septic business being involved day to day, or how is all of that going to shift? Because I mean, it's a public office. What's the pay for a Justice of the Peace, and does it how many years you've been in?
Make him tell his salary.
Yeah.
It's public.
Yeah,
I think it's $90,000.
Okay.
Somewhere in there for a first-year judge, and I think you get a car allowance of some kind. And I'm going to keep doing the building stuff. I'm lucky enough that my wife works there, and so does my good friend of mine who's my business partner, and so I'm going to help as I can. But of course, I'll have to be in that
the
courthouse.
day-to-day stuff. You'll kind of back out.
Mm-hmm.
What about so your friends? Sounds like you got a lot of friends down in that area. Somebody gets a parking ticket and they go, Joe,
well,
help me out
I'm
here,
sure
man."
that's going to happen. But
How are you going to handle that?
Well, I think I'm going to have to just maybe lose some friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you go. You heard
We'll
it here.
see.
Yeah.
You got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, there you go. I like that. You got to do the right thing.
The chips fall where they may after that.
You know what? If you run that court that way, then you'll do fine. You'll do great.
Yeah, I always thought, at the end of the day, nobody could say I didn't do that.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Well, when you get in office, you may find out sometimes it's not that black and white, because there'll be people that lean on you for, hey, I know you're going to run for re-election. You get clean up my son's ticket. We'll donate whatever. It probably gets a lot. I know it'll be easy for you. You sound like a man of character, but it probably gets a little muddier sometimes.
I'm sure it's awkward, but I think luckily the people that have contributed to me they're doing so because they want someone that's honest and does the right thing. I don't think they would even get upset. I don't think they would fight a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hopefully not.
I equate it. It's kind of the same thing as you going to a call and it's a friend of yours' child or an actual friend of yours where you're having to perform an emergency procedure, CPR or whatever. You have to separate. That's a different Joe. This is Judge.
Yeah.
And I can go to dinner with you and that's Joe, and over here I'm Judge, or I'm your paramedic. And so you're going to have to just put that into a different category with your...
I think you're exactly right. That's how it's going to have to be. And I've done a lot of EMS calls on friends and around friends, and it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Well, if once you hold the line for a few times on whatever somebody trying to get you to do something you're not comfortable with, once you hold the line a few times, then people will stop asking because they know you won't do it. So in the beginning, they got to test you and see. So.
Well, we are very excited that you came on today, and we are thrilled to kind of watch your journey. And maybe, you never know, Steve and I will end up in your court, not because we live in Wimberley, but just to observe.
Michelle,
that'd be great.
Every time Michelle gets a ticket, she's going to give you a call. She's on
Every
speed
time,
dial. So,
who drives the Porsche? I am not getting the ticket, okay? I am not getting the ticket.
Well, Joe, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
In sitting on that court, and I think based on what the conversation we've had today, I think you're going to do a really good job.
Well, I appreciate that. It was so fun. Yeah, I had a good time.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank
Of course.
you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck at school. I hope you're not the class clown.
I'm excited for that school.
Okay.
This will
Oh,
be good.
good. All right, thanks, Joe. Missed that cue, didn't I? That was fun. Joe Jamieson, what a great guy. I think he's going to fit that role very well as Justice of the Peace for Precinct 3.
Well, not only being a lifelong Wimberley resident and Hill Country resident, but also he has already been serving the people for close to 2 decades.
For a long time, yeah. And you could tell he cares about the people. He cares about all people, but especially the people that will live in the area that he serves. I think he's going to be a fair judge.
He has big shoes to fill with Judge Andy, but with him as his mentor, I think it's going to work out just great. And Joe, we wish you all the success in the world.
Yes.
And we hope that we're never in front of you.
I hope I don't get any tickets in Wimberley. This weekend, Memorial Day, I got to be a part of and witness something pretty cool. The Ascension Seat and Super Try was yesterday. It's always
Ascension Super Try?
Ascension Seat and Super Try.
Ascension Seat and Super Try.
That's a lot to say. It used to be the CapTex Try, which I've done 6 or 7 years in a row. I decided not to do it this year for a number of reasons, but I got to support my friend Matt, who I swim with a couple days a week, and he was invited to do a relay for the sprint race at the Austin Super Try, and the swim is 750 yards in Town Lake, and there's nothing super spectacular about that except for Matt has Down syndrome.
I got to sit with Matt on Friday, and by the way, Speedo Steve was not wearing a Speedo, and but I got to watch them swim and took some video and stuff of them, and had a lovely conversation with his father, Carl, who
was instrumental in putting the race on, starting that race in the 80s. So it's come full circle. So,
oh, really?
Yeah,
he was?
He was one of the first race directors for that race back in like 1984.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot different.
We're gonna have
organizations. Yeah. But it was fun to watch, and Matt had a huge group of people came out to support him, and he did the relay. They did Kaylee, this runner who was also has Down syndrome, had just come from Canada the day before, where she did a half marathon, and she did the run leg of the Super Try, and It's all part of this effort by the people that have just recently bought the race, the CapTex Tri, and now call it the Super Tri, to include more people into the sport of triathlon. So they're pushing a lot of relays. So if you're scared to swim or you don't like to bike or whatever, you can do a relay. And they brought out a whole media team. And that's why I was swimming with Matt on Friday, because the media team was there to get footage of him working out with his swim buddies. He calls us his old guys. And yeah, he does. He says, I'm going to go swim with the old guys. And I thought it was really cool. And they didn't present it in a way where it's these handicapped people doing. They presented it as, what a cool thing where we can open the sport up to everybody, and everybody can feel that sense of joy and elation that they get from crossing the finish line of a triathlon.
I've never asked you this question before, but the thought occurred to me. In a triathlon, what traditionally is the hardest part of the triathlon? The swimming, the biking, or the running?
It's different for everybody.
And do they always go in the same order?
Triathlon, yeah. I mean, no, there are variations on it, but for it to be a true triathlon, it is swim, bike, run.
Swim, bike, run. So what is your favorite order?
The swim is my favorite one by far. Swim is my favorite, run is second, and the bike is not my strong suit. I'm not a bad cyclist. I can hold my own, but there's some guys out there that are just monsters. But we got to, while we were waiting for Matt, we were standing by where so there was 2,000 athletes did this race. We were standing by where if you were pulled out of the water for one reason or another, you came through this gate that we were standing at, because it was right by the exit for the water. Because they pull you out of the water, they take your little number band off. It's kind of, I felt bad. I felt bad for the people, but there were dozens of people that jump in that water and can't complete that swim.
And that's the first leg.
It's
right?
the first leg. It's 750 yards. Matt crushed it. His time was not much slower than I would have done it. I was so proud of him. And he came out of the water. Everybody's cheering, and he had Stuart with him, he's a local athlete that sort of
coaches
chaperoned him through the swim. So he had somebody right there. I don't think he needed his help, but he ran up the ramp. He ran into the transition area. They do the relay handoff. I think Stuart went out and did the bike and then came back and handed off to Kaylee. But it was so cool.
He smoked you at the pool at the Y on Friday.
He's a fast swimmer. He's a really good swimmer.
Wait, you know what? It's probably those lightning bolts that he put on the side of his head.
He had those cool lightning bolts shaved into the side of his head. The thing I like about working out with him is he never complains. He's always happy.
He's just like me.
He has never made fun of me. Actually, he did make fun of me a few times.
I think Matt and I are best friends.
If he doesn't want to do the workout, I'll go, hey, Matt, let's do some 50s. He'll go, nah, I'm all right.
You know what's funny? When he was swimming and he'd swim by me and he'd look over at me, give me a little wink.
Yeah, he was hamming it up, wasn't he?
He was so funny. Well, I love that story, and I thought, if I participated in a triathlon, it would be pedicure. This would be me and my girlfriends. It'd be pedicure first, and then we'd go to the domain and we'd hit, because that's really strong.
You get your steps in, yeah.
Because I would think, swimming, my feet are swimming in the water, getting my pedicure.
Yeah.
And then the running part, that's the domain, because none of the stores I like are close by. And then the biking.
Wine at the finish. Oh, biking. Okay.
Well, biking would be at Nordstrom Cafe because. See, I can exercise.
Okay, that sounds grueling for me. I'll go do the try.
I can do it.
I'll go do the real try. That sounds freaking miserable. But anyway, we were all real proud of Matt, and I was blessed to be a witness to it. It was a fun way to spend part of my Memorial Day.
You know what? It was a fun way for me to spend my Friday morning. I just left there with a big old smile on my face watching him.
He has a great family. Carl's a really good friend of mine, and his brother and sister, they are very supportive of him, and so it's just fun to be around them.
Well, I can't wait till I get him on the show scheduled.
Yeah, hopefully we can soon.
Well, speaking of what's going on in Austin, there's some really cool. I found 2 cool stories. This is by the Austin Report, which is an online Instagram page that I found, which is pretty cool. In case you don't want to read it, I will read it to you. So Austin is getting a brand new 4,000-seat music venue in 2027. And it's off Riverside Drive in Southeast Austin. And it's 65,000 square feet. It's an indoor music venue, and it's going to be operated by AEG, the second largest live entertainment company. And what it's going to do, it's going to fill the gap between the smaller venues and the larger venues here. So, for instance, ACL holds about 2,700 people, Stubbs 2,200, which I've been to both, and then you have the Moody, which 15,000, give or take. It's perfect for touring acts that need just that kind of middle of the ground place to perform. No blue dot, or what was it called? Blue dot fever, yeah, because I guess that's kind of running through. It's going to be the anchor for River Park, which is this development that's down there. $4 billion. I think that's right. $4 billion. It's either
that's a lot of money.
$4 billion. It's a 109-acre mixed-use development.
So they're going to have some commercial,
housing,
retail,
hotel,
housing,
restaurants, office space, retail, and 30-plus acres of parkland space.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool? So along with that, Austin is also getting our newest hotel, August of 2026. It's called One Hotel Austin, and it's now accepting reservations. I'm sure it's going to be like $500 to $1,000 a night. It's touted as one of the most beautiful hotels ever to open up in Texas. But here's the kicker. It's going to be Texas's new tallest building at 74 stories, or 1,022 feet.
Do you know where that is in Austin?
It is. I just wrote it. Oh, it's on Red River, and it's 252 rooms, 60 suites. Okay, I meant to look this up, but it's a biophilic design inspired by the Texas Hill Country and Texas River houses. So they're going to also have...
Biophilic. I need to look that up. I have no idea what that means.
I mean, biophilic. I probably am butchering the name of it.
Don't be such an idiot. It's biophilic.
Biophilic. Altino Austin is going to be one of the restaurants there from Michelin chef Johnny Carell. It's going to have a Jalisco cuisine, which is like, Mexican food. Then they're going to have the water rooftop lounge, sunsets, Ladybird Lake views, spa, fitness center. This is going to be the anchor for a 74-story waterline development. There's going to be 352 luxury apartments, 70,000 square feet of office space, and it's a direct connection to the Confluence, I think is how you're saying it's Austin's brand new $91.5 million Waterloo Greenway Park, which opens up June 6th. Do you know about this?
I did not know any of that was going on.
Yeah.
There's a huge development going over...
what's it called? The Confluence. Okay, go
over by 5th Street, south of 5th, just north of Town Lake. They've got these huge cranes going up. It's over by where Rogue Running is. I was wondering if that would be the hotel, because that looks down on Town Lake, but it sounds like it's a little further east.
There you go, Waterloo Greenway.
Huh.
Waterloo Greenway. Conservancy City of Austin announced today the grand opening of the Waterloo Greenway.
So that would be more
phase
like
1, phase 2.
Parkland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nature, community, and connectivity.
What was the other word that we needed?
Biophilic.
Biophilic design.
There it is.
Okay.
Biophilic, not biophilic. Biophilic. Biophilic design is an architectural and interior approach that integrates nature into built environments to improve human health, productivity, and well-being. So it's like bringing the outside in.
And like yoga and Om.
Yeah, man. That's like so
yeah,
freaking
man.
cool,
I think that Matthew McConaughey is gonna.
They'll have marijuana plants on the rooftop.
You
could just pull a bud right off the vine.
No deodorant necessary.
Yeah. Well, when I was driving back from the race yesterday to watch Matt and do his thing, There was a roadside stand selling Fredericksburg peaches.
Lies.
Well, okay,
Every
I'll get
time
to that.
every time I drive by there, I'm like, liars.
Yeah. Well, long before Fredericksburg became the wine capital of Texas, people knew the hill country town with German roots for its peaches.
Yeah.
It used to be in the 50s, 1950s through 1970s. People went out to Fredericksburg to get
Just to get the peaches. I mean, it was
yeah.
known. Fredericksburg peaches were. That's what Fredericksburg was known for.
Yeah. So since then, the amount of acreage available to people to grow peaches has diminished. Obviously,
probably from the wineries.
It is wineries. Like the cost of land has gone through the roof out there, and so they can't afford to have these. And so now there are only 15 large growers in the Fredericksburg Valley out there that still grow peaches.
So if you want a real Fredericksburg peach, you better go to Fredericksburg to the farm and go get it.
Well, it's even more. It's even more dire than that this year. The crazy winter that we had, which is there was a May freeze that they had, and then we've had unusually warm weather since then. The peach trees are not putting out many peaches at all.
Peach trees aren't putting out.
Well, you were doing something over there.
No,
You distracted me.
The peach trees aren't putting out. That's what I was laughing at.
There's no peaches putting out. Jeez, oh my God.
Now when you drive by one of those tents, you're going to go, you ain't putting out
You
no
ain't
peaches.
putting out no peaches. So there's one of the places that still grows peaches is Vogel Orchards, and they still have 70 acres of peach trees, but they're saying it's impossible to pay for land at the value it is now to make a living producing peaches. But most people don't know this. Fredericksburg peaches are considered the best in the country, partly because of the growing conditions. It's not too wet, and that keeps the sugar content. God, Michelle, you're like a 12-year-old boy. Oh my God.
I'm just sitting here. This isn't like so weird, Steve.
Anyway, they're super sweet. But okay, continuing on. Most of the peaches that you see in the roadside stands this year, they're saying it's a 99.9% chance that they are from other parts of the country and they're not Fredericksburg peaches.
They're not
so
the
don't get
peaches.
scammed. Oh God! And you still have another story. How are we going to get through that?
They're probably HEB peaches, but not
They
like.
could come from Georgia or something.
So
They're not Fredericksburg peaches.
Do you know if Fredericksburg, to be labeled Fredericksburg peaches, you have
They
to
have
be,
to come from Fredericksburg. Yeah.
So we're gonna let's go to one of those roadside stands.
I was gonna say.
Prove it.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna do some DNA testing on your peaches.
Let's
here.
call what's that kid's name? Nick Shirley to investigate.
Yeah, investigate the peaches.
The peach
Find
putting
out
out
which
problem.
peaches are giving out. Which ones are putting out.
You got a peach putting out problem. Okay, well, this fits perfectly into my story. Okay.
It's all downhill from here, folks.
You know what? What did you say? I was just like Matt. I'm always I'm
always happy.
always happy.
Always
So
finding the silver lining.
the 2026 mean but highly accurate judgmental map of Austin is out, and it is hilarious.
love it.
So we have on the north side, okay, so like Round Rock area, of course we have IKEA City Hall, we have Leander adjacent. On the northwest side, Christians who hate everybody.
Everyone.
I like the future data center, probably.
That's sort of
which is probably true.
the middle of Austin, north of 183.
But when you start going down to the center of Austin, you have the soul-crushing strip malls, and then you have the NIMBY libs.
NIMBY libs, yeah.
And then you have the himbo high prices.
Himbo high prices.
High rises, sorry, not high prices, high rises. But then on the west side, which I thought was funny, the MAGA Lake creatures.
That's Lakeway.
Yeah,
So everybody in Lakeway apparently.
No. Lakeway is the football-obsessed rich dicks.
Oh God! No, I don't think so.
Yes.
Is
yes,
it?
and then you
Okay.
go up from there. That's the Tesla
Football
Swingers.
obsessed rich
Great
dicks.
views where the Oasis is, because I started really looking like, so where the Oasis is, that's Great Views, Bad People, and right above that Steiner Ranch, that's where the real swingers
Real
are.
Swingers of Steiner Ranch. I
Yeah.
think that's coming to HGTV near you.
But it's not Belterra, it's the
Yes,
swingers. But they
yes.
also say Belterra. But then also when you start to go towards Drip, which I think is hilarious, is kids on motorbikes.
And road construction
Road
Hades.
construction 80. But then below it, the hippies and the hemp, we talked about it earlier.
This one here is actually true.
The South?
Local taco shops now lame chains.
Yeah, that's South
it's
Austin.
so true.
Yeah.
Like Torchy's used to be kind of cool. It
Yeah.
had an Austin thing going to it. Now they're just like
Now it's
every
lame.
other little fast food taco shop.
And
Yeah.
then true South Austin, it says it used to be cheap.
Cheap, not anymore.
Towards the airport, loud cars and planes, and then you go up to Bastrop commute hell. But then a little further up, I would probably say Central, East, Austin, a little bit like what is that? That's where the barbecue places
Manor,
are.
like-
Manor, too far away to cost this much.
Isn't that the truth? You got to live in Taylor or Manor and pay that much for a house.
But I thought this one was funny right here. This is South. What would this be? Or no, Central, South.
South Central, or East Central,
So what
sort
does
of
that
east
say?
of UT. Boring imported normies. That's true. That's where all the gentrification in East Austin is going. I was trying to think what kind of, if we had a one of these maps for Dripping Springs. I was thinking if it's west of Ranch Road 12, that's the people that are born here. Dang it. And if it's east of 12, that's not how we did it in California.
Oh, yeah.
And then we talked about it with Joe earlier. If it's south, it's all the rich hippies.
It's all the rich. I used to call the Great 12 Divide, the 12-290. I still do it. The Hatfields and McCoys.
It's true.
That's where the Hatfields and McCoys live. And then like where we are, we're like the new people, even though I've been here 20 years.
I know.
So-
I don't think anybody that was born and raised here ever thinks that you deserve to have an opinion about what this town should be because you just weren't born here.
Well, let me just say this. You can't be born and raised in Dripping unless you were born in your house, okay? So you're probably born in some hospital in Austin, which 2 of my children were.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So
that's a good point.
My children, technically, they could say they were born and raised here because they were born in Austin. But yeah, I think the 7. So now I think we just divide it by the zip or the zip codes. So
78737 and
Yeah.
78620. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an interesting.
So everything 78737 is somebody that moved here in the last 10 years, typically.
Well, typically I'm 78737, but I have a very good friend of mine that you know who they are, and I'm not going to say her name, but she said she went to the Dripping Springs Rodeo that happened this weekend, and she said, she goes, I didn't recognize a lot of people, and I felt like it was at the Austin Rodeo.
Yeah.
She goes, people were going there because it was a thing to do for Saturday night, which
They
is good.
They went to
but
Cavender's on Friday and bought
Yeah.
a cowboy hat and a pair of boots.
dime
yeah.
store cowboys, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? It's okay. Let's embrace it all.
It's still a wonderful town, and we're all going to love each other, and it's just going to be great.
It's going to be kumbaya, my
Kumbaya,
lord,
yeah, and we'll all be
kumbaya.
called boring imported normies at one point.
Or kids on motorbikes.
Kids on motorbikes, which is true. So, well, that's been a fun show, Michelle. I got some good laughs out of that. Thank
Sure
you
you
for
did.
that. It's always a good way to start the week.
I'm going to bring you some peaches tomorrow.
But they won't be Fredericksburg.
You guys have a great day.